So welcome to episode 2, which is composting and black soldier flies, and where we're gonna be talking about you.
Okay, so this episode is about the importance of using organic materials that are traditionally discarded as waste and turning them into useful materials. So we're going to start with composting and adding organic materials.
So basically, what is composting? Is it a singular thing, or can it be many more things?
Um, so composting is like an umbrella term. Composting is the act of taking old plant material, organic material, and then it turns into a really rich organic matter that's super helpful for making plant scrub. It's full of bacteria, which is super good for plants, by the way. It's full of bacteria, it's full of insects, and it's full of nutrients, absolutely chock full of nutrients.
So how could adding organic material benefit to this?
So adding organic material actually benefits your garden in many ways, mostly starting with so here in California we have really clay-heavy soil, and adding organic matter to your soil makes the particles have more size, the particles of dirt have more size differences, and like it mentioned last episode, it helps them with water retention. So materials are really good at absorbing water, and they feed animals and bugs and insects, which all help to aerate your plant's roots and create a better functioning soil and garden for you. And so adding organic material really increases the richness and variety that you get in your soil. You can add it to native soil that you have, or you can add it to like bedding soil and like beds. Organic material or organic material like that comes from a compost is a fertilizer. It's really readily available minerals and nutrients that like your plants can absorb super easily, and so it creates healthier plants. And it's another option as opposed to a synthetic fertilizer, which you would need to buy. Because with composting, you're turning stuff that would often be disregarded, such as like at the end of the season when you cut down your tomato plants. If they're not diseased, you come into your compost, and that tomato plant goes from trash to beautiful, rich compost that is going to make your tomatoes juicier next year, more sweet, more flavorful, depending on the variety. So, composting is all about increasing your soil and improving your soil.
A few questions I have, actually. One of them is, how can green waste be a form of fertilizer?
So green waste turns into fertilizer through composting because the food is so composting breaks down organic matter and breaks down green waste into fertilizer because the microbes and the bacteria that are in the soil break down these like plants into nutrients. So they're kind of like digesting the heat, and the bacteria that's in it's good bacteria, good soil bacteria that's in your soil is basically digesting all of this green waste and turning it into its nutrients and all of its glob stuff. And it's super good. It's super good for the soil. It's for your soil.
Well, thank you for answering that question.
Mm-hmm.
And how can food waste and cardboard be turned into like native beneficial Britain? And how can it benefit my garden?
While you also have green waste from the garden, you might also have food waste. So when you cut up a head of lettuce and you don't want to use that end bit of lettuce because it's like wilty, it doesn't taste very good. It's kind of like a little past its prime. That very end, little dark green of lettuce where it's kind of getting a little old.
Mm-hmm.
You can take that part of the lettuce and you can put it in your compost bin, and it will break down. And you can do that the same thing with you can do it with old meats. Some say you can't, but I've never had any issue with putting meat in my compost, and I have 4 composters, so but you can put all kinds of food waste, stuff that you might want to throw out, or just you can chuck it into your bin, into your compost bin, and it goes from waste to fertilizer, and stuff. So you can it's a mix between greens and browns is what it's called. Brown stuff as in literally stuff that is brown, and then green stuff as in literally stuff that is green. And green is usually stuff that's somewhat alive-esque, and you need to have some say 50-50. It really just depends on your climate and what works for your compost. You have a balanced mix of cardboard and papers so that your compost doesn't get overly wet. And the the cardboard can actually serve as housing for insects. And insects are composting's best friend. And that's where black soldier flies come in. So black soldier flies are, pretty sure they are native to most of the United States, or at least just the western part of the United States. But they're native to California, and they're a type of insect that they feed on fruits and decaying matter and as grubs. And when you have a lot of waste in your garden, they are your best friends. So they pollinate much waste they can eat. So we have them for their composting abilities because their poo is also a fertilizer. It turns what would have already been a compost bin with insanely productive, insanely fertilized compost bin that they eat just about anything, and they eat like crazy. So in our bins, we feed them just about every other day or every day, and every time we go out there, the food is completely gone, and they they can really eat. So if you have like a lot of waste, you can put it into there, and the black soldier flies produce an even better compost, and it's got a really big granule size, sort of like worm castings, and
For example, if I have any like, obviously not like fresh food, but like if it's food that's already about to like actually go to waste,
Mhm.
like it's been sitting there for like weeks or days, and we just decided to like put it in a compost bin. Would that still work or no?
yeah, absolutely, yeah, no, any fruit, fresh, old, and any stage, you can compost things. Um, some stuff doesn't always break down, but sometimes it just takes a long time. Like pomegranates, you might not see them broken down in your compost pile for years, but they will. So you can put pretty much anything there.
And it varies for like the time span. It varies for everything, right?
Yeah, yeah. So different materials decompose at different rates. It's like uranium that has like a half-life of like thousands of years or something, or like millions of years.
Of course.
So that's obviously a way out there example. Like that's crazy work, and we're not putting uranium in our compost bins, hopefully.
I mean, hopefully not.
Hopefully
We'll do
not.
that.
Hopefully not. But things decompose at different rates. Um, yeah, no, yeah, you can put a lot of different organic materials. As long as it's organic material, like you wouldn't want to put like a plastic cup or like those cups that look like plastic but they have that look like paper but they have a plastic interior.
Yeah.
You can't put those because plastic does it just breaks down into smaller pieces of plastic and doesn't decompose. So it's basically just a chemical compound that doesn't decompose ever. So
So basically, there are certain things where you can like use, but not everything.
yeah. So as long as it's organic material, you can compost it.
Thanks for listening to our podcast.
This is Brianna that.
And this is Jackson.